it's a big gamble by President Macron to call this type of election. He's pulled off quite a few political gambles in the past, but can he pull off this one?
I hope he will, actually. I think it's very interesting that he ties his own future to the future of Europe. I think it's akin to the Brexit vote, to be honest. So for France, today it's a bit of a political hangover, you know, after yesterday, which was quite an uneventful European election, that he calls for a general election in 3 weeks. I think the main difference for international viewers to understand, it's a two-round election. It's very local issue versus European issues. So we could see the other parties, also the left and the right, the normal parties, also get a win. And so the main issue would be that he could get a minority government anyhow. But having a prime minister that is from Marine Le Pen's party is still a far, stretched scenario, I would say, at this moment. Yeah.
So what do you think is the most likely scenario as of now?
I wouldn't know. I mean, there is, if you look at 2022 electoral landscape, there is, I would say, a 40% chance that Macron actually gains a majority back, because that would be the second round of the election could see members of parliament's candidates that are from Macron and Marine Le Pen's party, and there is this cordon sanitaire, people actually voting for Macron.
But that's been fizzling out,
It is fizzling out because, of course, we've had a pension reform, and we had a lot of purchasing power losses because of the high inflation. And so economically, the drivers, the determinants of what has been the cordon sanitaire have been waning out. So there is a 40% chance that he secures majority. There is a 60% chance he has a minority government, but not necessarily with Marine Le Pen, but maybe with the left or the right. Yeah.
So it looks like no party will be able to get a majority. That's one of the most likely scenario now. What does that mean for the political stability of France and all the key aspects? Because there was this downgrade from S&P when it comes to the France's debt, etc. So what does that mean for that for the next few years?
The timing is very unfortunate, because this summer we have this discussion with the European Commission about the debt sustainability analysis, right? And there is the excessive fiscal procedure that is to be announced in countries that are in the excessive deficit procedure, that are to be announced in July. So I think the fiscal credibility of France is a bit under duress. I think we know that we have 110 billion to find to be on track with what we committed to the Commission by 27 or even a bit after. And so if he has a fragmented parliament, the risk is that not much happens on the budget. So we're going to have a lot of discussions and no confidence votes on the budget. So that could be a fiscal credibility shock, a negative one on the French debt. And that's why maybe markets are reacting to this uncertainty shock.
So I was going to ask you that. We see the French banks trading much lower this morning. Can you give us a bit of insight on what's happening there?
Well, remember the doom loop 2012? The fact that banks are the largest owners of government bonds. I think that's what markets are trading right now. I think it's really a bit of a bite the deep moment. I wouldn't be so worried about this sticking, but this is something to be considered seriously. I think this is the message. The euro is a bit down. Government bonds are going to be also, the spread is going to widen with other countries. And of course, some of the banks that are largest, owners of government bonds may be actually sanctioned because of this uncertainty on the fiscal slippages. Yeah.